We've just left behind episode 8 of the Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, the most important episode of the entire show. And honestly, it's going to take me a long time to process everything. My mood, which sank all the way to the bottom with Jeremiah and Belly's wedding being called off and with Conrad being pushed away by everyone, suddenly shot up to the top again with that last scene. And now in episode 9, there are going to be so many moments that will put a smile back on our faces. I know you're just as excited as I am to find out what's going to happen. So let's take a look at how the unbelievable events of episode 8 will trigger what's coming in episode 9, Belly and Jeremiah's breakup. Of course, we need to start with this unbelievable breakup. I know we all expected it to happen at some point, but I never imagined it would go down this hard. When Jeremiah asked Belly if she still loved Conrad, and Belly said a part of her would always love him, it really turned Jeremiah's whole world upside down. This is the first time I actually want to say I understood Jeremiah, because Belly having a part of her that will always love Conrad is completely understandable. But like Jeremiah realized, that was never a friendly kind of love. Billy never truly forgot Conrad. And as Jeremiah said, ever since Christmas, a part of her mind has always been on him. That's why Jeremiah telling Billy that she needed to love only him wasn't selfishness. It was about letting Conrad go. Up until this moment, I was always annoyed with Jeremiah. But honestly, learning that his brother declared love for the girl he was about to marry, realizing that the girl still loved his brother, and most importantly, even knowing their mother believed Conrad and Billy were the ones who would end up together. That's just unbearable for him. Team Jeremiah, this time I really feel you, Belly and Conrad. Now, it's time to talk about the two who turned everything upside down. Episode started with Conrad confessing his love to Belly again and Belly turning him down again. But even though she rejected him, the impact of all the emotions he made her feel was written all over her. I want to stop here and think about Billy's psychology for a second. Every time she's with Conrad, she loses herself like she's already married to him. Yet with Jeremiah, she just wanted to go through with a decision and marry him no matter what. But really, if Conrad hadn't confessed his love before the wedding day, could she have ever had a happy marriage? I'm sure the moment she saw Conrad at another family gathering or saw him with someone else, her feelings for him would have come back anyway. That's why I think marrying Jeremiah was a mistake from the start. I'm curious what you all think about this too. So drop it in the comments. Anyway, if we forget Jeremiah's existence for a moment, Conrad's farewell speech to Belly and kissing her on the forehead was one of the most unforgettable scenes of the show. Conrad giving up on her just for her happiness was a real hero move. Still, I believe Conrad should have kept everything inside and let Belly be the one to decide who she really wanted. Now, let's see what we're left with. Conrad is dead to Jeremiah. This is exactly where Belly's indecision has brought the two brothers. Jeremiah, hearing straight from Conrad's mouth that his suspicions were right and Conrad still loves Belly, might have completely broken the bond between them. Even though I'm Team Conrad, I think Jeremiah punching him was completely justified. And after Susanna's letter, Jeremiah, who was already jealous of his brother for real reasons, saying, "You're dead to me," was painful, but understandable. I can't lie, I always thought Conrad would at some point still fight for his brother too. But putting his own feelings before his brother's didn't feel like Conrad at all. It really shows how much of an impact Billy has had on both of them. I don't think Conrad and Jeremiah will ever come back together again, but it breaks my heart to see two brothers who lost their mom and never had much of a bond with their dad drift apart this much. Would you want to see Jeremiah and Conrad, despite everything, go back to being close, supportive brothers again? Let me know in the comments. Finally, Stephen and Taylor. The only good news in this episode was definitely Steven and Taylor getting back together. Honestly, I always thought Steven and Denise made a great duo, and they really did. But them realizing there was no romantic spark and deciding to just remain partners was actually the best thing that could have happened in my opinion. Because we all know how bad things can get when people don't part on good terms, right? Anyway, back to the point. Taylor was upset after what Belly said to her, and Steven went to be by her side comforting her when he explained the reasons why he and Denise didn't work out. One of those reasons being his feelings for Taylor. It felt to me like these two were never going to break up again, because unlike Billy and Jeremiah, both of them have matured and they know they're truly the right people for each other. So, only thing I can say is I really hope we see Steven and Taylor's wedding before the show ends. Because if there's one couple that deserves happiness and shows real effort and understanding for one another, it's them. Episode 9. Now, let's talk about what we're going to see after such a heavy episode. In the last scene of episode 8, Belly was just about to leave for Paris when she saw Conrad. And the way she looked at him full of love and the step she took toward him to talk told us everything. They'll probably talk about what happened. Conrad will say he's gone back to Stanford, and Belly will say she's leaving for Paris. Conrad will apologize for everything, but Belly will say it doesn't matter anymore. Both disappointed, they'll look ahead, and most likely she'll probably have to catch her flight, and the two will be forced apart once again. But at this point, we might see Conrad once again change all his plans for Billy. We know that he stayed at Cousins instead of going back to California just because Billy was sad. If he finds any hint in their final talk that Billy still loves him, and we know he heard something like that from Taylor, then even if he doesn't stay with her right away, he might still buy a ticket to Paris just to take another chance. And if that happens, I honestly don't think Belly, now left by Jeremiah, could say no to him anymore. So Team Conrad pray that he hasn't given up on her yet, because chances are looking good. And now, let me drop a bomb. During the filming period, we saw Gavin and Lola in Paris, filming The Summer I Turned Pretty, Season 3, which means Jeremiah also came to Paris for Belly. Honestly, after that breakup, I thought Jeremiah wouldn't lift a finger for her again. But if he shows up in Paris and sees Conrad and Belly happy together, I'm pretty sure Jeremiah is going to lose it. What do you think would happen in that confrontation? Do you think Jeremiah might actually beat Conrad to death this time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But there's also another possibility. What if Jeremiah's scenes in Paris are just in Belly's imagination? We know she's going through a rough time, and being alone in another country, she could easily start wondering what it would have been like if Jeremiah had come with her. Maybe we'll even see her walking through the streets of Paris, imagining Conrad on one side and Jeremiah on the other. If Conrad and Jeremiah don't go to Paris, then what might they be doing instead? Jeremiah could accept his dad's job offer and throw himself into work, completely cutting Belly and Conrad out of his life, which could mean episode 9 might even be the last time we see him. And if Steven and Denise leave the company too, there'd be no reason for Jeremiah to come back. Meanwhile, Conrad returns to California. Agnes will be waiting for him there. And if we assume she has feelings for him, maybe they'll give it a try and we'll finally see Conrad in a peaceful, loving relationship that he deserves. I actually think Agnes is a much better match for him. As for Billy, things don't look so bright, which is why in episode 9, I think we'll see a year of struggles and emotional turmoil in Paris. Then in episode 10, and finally, in episode 11, which will be the series finale, we'll probably see some major time jumps showing where the characters have ended up. That's what I expect for episode 9. What do you think Belly will go through in Paris? Will Jeremiah and Conrad keep fighting for her? Let's meet in the comments. And if you want to know what surprises are waiting in Season 19 of Heartland, including a real wedding, unlike the samurai turned pretty, check out this video.